This is the recipe I'm creating for Kelowna Apple Fest to support apple growers in our area. The recipe features fresh apples that I picked up from the market, and you find more details in the recipe itself. I'm not showing all of the steps in this video. So after you mixed up the dough, you let it rest for at least half an hour. Then you add the salt and any other ingredients, and then you let it sit again for about an hour. You do 4 stretch and folds. This is an example for stretch and folds. So you just pull up the dough from one end and to the other. This helps the dough develop gluten strains and give it the shape that we want it later on. So we need to repeat this 4 times for this dough. The dough can be a little wet, so you might have to adjust the water you're using depending on the apples you're using. Now we let it rest again, of course. Sourdough is a time process. And now the dough is ready the bulk fermentation is done. So I'm putting in rice flour into the banneton with the liner. Rice flour because it doesn't bond with the gluten in the bread and it stays clean. So, and then I put the dough on the counter. So this dough has filling, so I'm putting it on the counter. You see it is fairly moist, fairly high hydration because the apples are quite moist. I spread it out. And then I add the sugar apple mixture. In this video I only used the sugar and cinnamon and some other ingredients. In the newer version of the recipe I actually use more apple than sugar because I found the first try quite sugary. So you spread it onto the bread and then you fold it over from both sides. If your hands stick a little bit on the dough, just make them wet. That usually helps with the stickiness. So that's all the sugar there is. And now I roll it up, shape it for the round banneton. It's a little tricky to shape because of the filling and the wetness of the dough. Just shape it roughly and put it in the banneton, put it in the fridge for at least overnight, and it'll keep its shape. So it's ready to go into the fridge. I put a shower cap over the banneton so it doesn't dry out on the top and it doesn't take on any smells from the fridge. And now we let it rest in the fridge at least overnight. I would say maybe 10 up to 18 hours. Now the oven is preheated and we can score the dough. So I'm putting the liner on the banneton, turn it around. See, the shape is it's quite nice. Then I do some simple scoring, not too much because bread with filling is really hard to do intricate scoring. And then it goes in the oven. It goes in the oven for 20 minutes, then I take the lid off for another 20, and then it's ready. So here is, I put the bread in the Dutch oven that is preheated to 450 degrees. I usually put in 2 ice cubes, not more. You may or may not want to do that. And then I close the lid for the for the Dutch oven. 20 minutes with the lid, 20 minutes without the lid. And then we end up with this loaf. After 2 hours, you can cut it, and then hopefully it will turn out as well as this one did, or even better. I can tell you it smells and tastes amazing.